Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. Okay, these are now ready to go back into the garden. And this one is already back in the garden. I went ahead and hung it up so it could dry. And when the others are dry and with that final coat of a sealant, then they will go back into their respective places in the garden. And look, we got another 1/8 of an inch of rain, bringing this up to a full inch of rain. What a wonderful reprieve. Thank you, Lord, so much for the rain and the cooler weather. And help us all, because I think the forecast is for by the weekend for it to go back where we're going to be like in the ovens again. And that was probably the perfect time for the summer to put in them little coleus clippings. That first day they crisped up when the sun came out, but they didn't have too much sun that it burned them so completely they couldn't build a root. You can tell this little one has built it a little root, and it has perked up, and it will go on from there. Of course, I do need to get out here and clip away all the old dead stuff so it can put all of its energies into all the new foliage and build even more. And I will try to get that done today. I have them in various places throughout the garden. Even my little aloe vera is starting to look alive again. It was just dying off. As a matter of fact, I clipped off a bunch of it where it was all brown, and I think that helped it too. And then that rain, and it's acting like it's ready to go again. The bees are working the bee balm this morning. Oh, they're flying, and I can't get them, but oh, look, and there's a honeybee over there too, if I'm getting it for you. So she may not be perfect, but then who is? And she does look pretty good right there in her little spot. This is what happens to some of my lilies, and most of my little double lilies I didn't get to even open up, but they come on a little later than the regular Asiatic lilies, and they just seem to get that horrible heat that we have, and they just don't always open up and bloom. And then of course the rain on top of they were already scorched, so now they'll probably go ahead and do like some of my peonies did and just rot out. I hate that, but you know, that's gardening too. Don't always work out for us, but usually there's enough stuff that does work out that we can remain happy. And this one's back in her spot too. And I do have the little stand anchored in better, and hopefully that won't happen to her again. Or him, I'm not quite sure. This may be a guy cherub, but it could be a girl. Whichever, it looks lovely back in its spot. just look what our Oklahoma heat has done to my little double lilies. Sorry to say daylilies, but these are the double Asiatic lilies that look what they're supposed to look like. Oh my, I'm so happy that I got at least one that I can look at and be proud of. And I may have to try to get rid of some of the snow on the mountain at some point, but my husband loves it, and it does help the ground cover where it doesn't just be weeds, instead it's this. But I look at this pretty little crazy daisy and it's just such a beautiful little daisy, but it may not have a chance. This may just choke it out. And the little surprise lilies or naked ladies are popping up in places around in the garden. And one of my little foxglove is blooming. The other one has not yet, and it may not, but it's looking good. So the surprise lilies or naked ladies are showing us that there's a promise of fall coming. They're coming along, and the seasons change and pass, and even the hard seasons of life pass away, and there's certain little beauties even in the hard spots, like family and friends and the people that stand by you, and just the good things in life. And some things that are just a total surprise. And the grasses are beginning to put their little plumes on. And the little plants that did make it through the hot summer are just about to cover up the little garden art. The last time we walked by, there was wisteria in the garden, and it was all overgrown again. All these little trindles hanging out everywhere. I said I probably should get rid of that. I've been thinking about it, but I just hadn't been ready. But today I was ready. We got some slightly cooler weather, so that's been great for our hot summers, and it's still hot, but it's so much nicer than it was, that's for sure. So I went out and I looked, and I thought, this might be the nicest day I'll have to do that. So I'm actually kind of glad that I put this little forsythia bush on the other side of it, so it doesn't look so terribly bare there, and you can see the trunk of it. And I'm going to go ahead and put some root kill on that too, and hopefully just go ahead and get rid of it and put something else there that's not quite so troublesome to take care of. I'm pretty sure I was cutting all the bloom off anyway. It only bloomed scraggly, like one or two little blooms for maybe 3 different times, 2 or 3 different times, so it wasn't doing anything for me anyway. I just have a dream sometimes, and I just can't let the vision go. We may talk more about that later. Today is July the 20th, and I told you that we'd talk more about it when I get a hold to a dream and just can't let it go. So I was going to tell you that today I also did put my sales permit from the Oklahoma Tax Commission in the mail to return it. So this, I'm going to have to take my own advice that I listened to today on the post that was entitled "What's Blooming When Everything Else is Taking a Break from the Heat." When I said we learn from our mistakes and our tries do count. And I do believe that, even though I certainly wasn't thinking of this when I said that. But no matter what, we try. If it seems to fail, I think if we do what God asked us or put in our heart, it didn't really fail. We didn't fail. And again, I didn't really quit. I just had to turn in my sales permit from lack of sales. So it happened, and I knew it was going to happen if it didn't pick up and people start ordering from the website. So that just didn't happen, and there's really nothing more I know that I can do with that, so I have to let it go. I will go ahead and put on the rest of the blog, the posts that I already got ready to go, that I've already got scheduled to go on. So there'll be a few more, and then I'll put this one on, which is really telling you goodbye. It's telling you thank you so much for enjoying the garden with me and walking along with me on these blogs, and I wish I could keep it going, but it's just not a feasible thing to do. So I'm going to give it up and go to another dream that I have. So I'm grateful to have gotten to do this much of my dream, and I'm grateful for each one of you that came along with me, like I say, and you were a part of it. This was the most fun part of the whole gardening thing, was just being able to share it with you. And I've loved it, and I know some of you have, because you've told me you have, and I appreciate that so much. Of course, I appreciate the people who actually bought the DVD, and especially the ones that just made it a point to tell me that it was wonderful and that I would have no trouble selling it, because it was just such a blessing. And I'm sure if there would have been a way, I don't know what I needed, but I needed to know more about what I was doing, but I didn't. But sometimes, again, we learn from just trying. So I'm not sorry I tried. Why would I be? I'm just sorry it didn't take off and go, and I didn't know how to do that. You know, I didn't even call it people and blogs until recently, because I wasn't sure what category to put it in, and I just haven't been able to get it going like I would love to get it going. But God knows all of that, and I'm sure He's taken all of that into consideration. Matter of fact, He knew every time I was out here working so hard in the heat, trying so hard, He knew that it would fail. And I think God talks to us if we listen, and I think He just said it didn't fail. It didn't fail. But I probably just need to go ahead and get busy with other things that I've got in mind, because I've always known, and I've said it many times, that, you know, our time is limited upon this earth. And I just lost an uncle that was a wonderful inspiration in my life. And what I loved about him so much is that he was a Christian man, and I told him that. I got to tell him that. And it's just something special about somebody that you feel the love of God in their life, and you can tell by their actions that they love Him and that He loves them, and there's some kind of something going on. And I will probably take care of the garden as long as I can. But you know, I have some scriptures. Maybe I'll get those out and put them on here. But they were some of the scriptures that God gave me. And I remember the time when my sister told me, I said, I can't do it. I just don't know how. I don't know what I'm doing. I need somebody to take me by the hand. And my sister Rose said, Nancy, God's got your hand. So, you know, I remember all those things, and I love my family. It's been a good experience as well as a hard experience. Sometimes, you know, if you garden, and you know, people call me a master gardener. And if you are a master gardener and you've seen any of this, you know I am not a master gardener. But I also coined the phrase myself, I don't have a green thumb, but I have a gardener's heart. I truly thought the Lord would make it happen, because He did tell me you could make it beautiful. And what do you think? I've had people tell me that it's beautiful, and I do believe that God did help me make it beautiful. As a matter of fact, that was as amazing to me, the fact that He told me I could make it beautiful, the fact that He helped me do that very thing, and I appreciate everything He's done for me. And you know, even though I wish He would have made it to be successful and to have a purpose and all those things, I think of what that same sister Rose said when her daughter was killed by an abusive partner. And I remember what she said was, blaming God is not an option. And that's exactly how I feel. I cannot blame God that it didn't work, nor will I, because I remember Him being with me out here every time when I thought I couldn't do something. He made it to happen. He made it to be beautiful. He lifted my heart to sing praises in this garden to Him, and I love Him so much. I have formed a relationship with Him, and I already had that relationship actually, but it only deepened working together with Him. You know how it is when you work with somebody. You get to know them. You get to be excited for the good things that happen in their life, and share that a little bit with them, and it becomes a part of you, a part of the strength of you to see something good and wonderful happen to somebody that you know personally. It makes you feel like personally you just kind of want a little bit yourself. And of course, when some sad things happen, you grieve a little bit with them yourself too. But isn't that a wonderful thing, to have a friend that will share all those moments of your life, or some of those moments of your life, and create a bond that only grows? And even if you no longer see each other, they're memories that you look back on and that build a cornerstone, or maybe not a cornerstone, but they build some of the foundation of your life. Another shining example in my life that I can hold on to right now is that when my daughter was maybe 16 years old, the church where she attended had a missions trip planned, and she wanted with all her heart to go, and she decided to believe the Lord for that. And so she did, and she did everything she could to get to go to that on that trip. And then the very last minute, and she had to call them, and it broke her heart, I know. She went into her room and didn't come out for a while. And then she came out and went right on with life. I don't know if there's any better example than that for when we have to go through disappointments. Thank you, sweetheart. The phlox is looking beautiful right now. And we've had a bit of a cool down, but in our area it has not been all that cool. But you know, we are grateful for any little bit we get, because it does make a difference. So these are some of the scriptures that God gave to me when I lost my job that I'd had for 38 years, and it was due to downsizing, but the way it happened was very ugly, actually. And some of my working people that worked with me just I don't know, they made up lies and did things that just made sure they got to keep their job and I got to lose mine. If somebody's going to lose their job, then they get to keep theirs. So that's basically what it was. And I'm quite sure that if I hadn't done anything wrong enough to get laid off in 38 years, it really wasn't my fault. So I know people say, well, they just weren't as good of a worker as the others were, but I don't believe that. And they also said that they just didn't keep up with the things they should have as much, but they couldn't find anything wrong with my work record other than they had to lie and make up things. But whenever I started this, it was kind of a building my own job, literally from the ground up. But these are the scriptures, and I was going to say he gave them to me, but we know that all scripture is given to everybody that's willing to read it and apply it to their life. So God's giving this to you too, I'm sure. But this is Psalms 71:21. Thou shalt increase my greatness and comfort me on every side. Psalms 73:24. Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. So you know that all of us, as it is appointed unto man, wants to die. And I know that at my age, even if I have several more years, and I hope I do, that it won't be so terribly long. I was trying to get that cardinal for you right then, but I missed him. He flew too fast. But it won't be long, and right now I just want to be found faithful. And I know that afterward he will receive me to glory. And then, how many of you have found a Chinese fortune in a cookie that you thought, oh, I like that, and you put it on your refrigerator? Because that's what I did. And this one says, the one who does more work than they are paid for will soon be paid for more work than they do. So yes, I was holding on to that because I definitely did the work. And I do want to thank God for everything that He's helped me to do and been a part of and helped me to be a part of. And I just want to thank you again because of your response and your just being a part of it with me. So this very well may be the last post that I put on, the last of the blog. So I'm hoping that God will give you counsel, and after this life receive you to glory. Look at this. I was showing my husband this little Kent Beauty oregano, and I told him, well, sometimes it has purple, but I guess it doesn't. And then I came out from this other side yesterday, and look at these beautiful purple bracts. My friend and my sister did come this last weekend. We roamed around the garden. It was hot, and we just, but we did enjoy each other's company. And of course, they encouraged me, and it's always good to have encouragement from people care about you. And I am going to totally miss showing you what's going on or what's blooming in the garden. I'm going to miss sharing that with you, even though I'll still get to do that at least for a while, because here is this garden. What else can I do but take care of it? Otherwise it's just going to be like weeds and snakes, and that's not really my idea of a garden. Look at this beautiful little artillery plant. Don't you think that's so pretty with those tiny little foliage? It's almost like a green bloom itself. It's so pretty. And now my little sweet potato vine and my little coleuses are beginning to show up. So maybe they'll come on up there with it and be so pretty, and I'll hate it that I can't show that to you. But I will be so grateful that we once shared this garden. I am so grateful that the Lord let me do this in my lifetime. I never knew I would get to. It's such a wonderful surprise to me that God gave me this and allowed me to do it and allowed me to share it with you, and that you jumped on board, even if everybody didn't. My friends, and actually my husband's niece, Kathy Lynn, and my friends Oma and Susie and Elwina have beautiful gardens, and they enjoy them without putting them on YouTube. So maybe I can do that. We'll see. But I don't know, because mine was always a dream. I made it bigger than what I would normally make it for just a garden of my own to take care of and enjoy. And I may cut it back down some or not. I don't know what I'll do with that. I don't have to decide today. So I'm going to go with that little concept and just see what God brings along. I think one of my first orders of the day is to finish my daughter's movie that I want to make for her. And she said, Mom, that I don't really care if you do that or not. It's for you. And she's right in the fact that it is for me too. I want all that down, just where I can open it up and look at it. But I want that for her too, because some of the things that we think, well, we have no interest in that whatsoever when we're young. When we get older, we begin to be interested in that. And I think that's kind of the way it is with people that don't be so interested in Christ or religion. I think they come to a point where they wish maybe they had of. And they're at that place where they're going to meet their master whether they believe in him or not. And when Susie was here, she did bring me a spinner. She said she had something for me, something big, and she was right. Well, I feel better that I got to tell you bye. But I feel bad that you won't get to see this bougainvillea if it blooms. Or that you'll get to see this lovely fuchsia salvia when it blooms. It's all wilty down because of the heat. Oh my goodness, and this is a cool down for us. Oh my. I won't be, well actually I wish I didn't have to deal with the heat, but you know, like I said, this garden's still got to be taken care of, so I'll still have to deal with the heat. I'll feel bad that you don't get to see the beautiful orange blooms of the Mexican flame vine. They'll be coming on before too long. These may be some buds right here, or they could still just be buds of a new leaf coming out. But they make a beautiful orange bloom. And same with the Mexican sunflower. What a beautiful bright orange bloom it will make. And I will hate it that you will miss all the bright pretty fall blooms of the chrysanthemums scattered all through the garden. And will I cry? Well, I've shed some tears, but not nearly as many as I did when I lost my job. But it's hard to understand what God is doing and why He allows things to happen. But then I'm grateful that I had the job through the years that helped me to help my husband together to buy our home, to buy the vehicles that we needed to get to work and back, and to go and pick up my stepchildren, and to raise my beautiful little girl that's my very own. And just everything that He's given me, I'm so grateful for it. And I'm grateful that I would have never quit, you know. Well, yes, I would. I was planning on quitting when I turned 65. But because I knew I wanted to do other things. I didn't want my whole life to just be working in a factory. But I'm grateful that I got to have an income. Many people didn't. And I know that God has just been blessing me all the way, and I'm so grateful for every blessing He's given me, and most of all for the relationship that I built with Him by staying as close to Him as I can, even in all the hardships. So I thought I might want to leave this with some scripture. And you know, I love the King James Version because that's what I grew up with. And I just have come to love it. So I'm going to read these from the King James Version. Genesis 8:2. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Matthew 24:35. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. Revelations 21:4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.